Mr. Carter, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Sure.
We really appreciate you taking the time to come and speak with us. Tell me about your campaign. You're running for re-election. What makes this year's running different?
Well, this year is a presidential election year, and anytime you're in a presidential election year, it's different from a non-presidential. But certainly, this presidential election is unique. We've really, and I think it's good for America because we've really got a contrast here between the Biden-Harris administration that we've had for the last 4 years, and then the Trump administration that came before there. So the voters really have an opportunity to compare records and see what they like and what they don't like. And certainly right now on their mind, at least as I go through the district, is inflation. That is one thing that has really been a problem for people. And if you look at inflation and where it was when Trump left office at 1.4%, if you look at where it's at right now, 2.5%, well, that's a little misleading because cumulatively over the last 4 years, it's up 20.5%, and that has hurt people. You know, the average Georgian has spent an extra $30,000 as a result of the policies of this administration. So this is a different election. Every election is different.
So you touched on the economy. Of course, I think that's top of mind for most voters right now, most Americans. What do you think are the biggest economic factors affecting American households and people in the 1st Congressional District of Georgia?
Well, I don't think there's any question about it. What we need to do in order to get our economy back on track is to unleash American energy. Let's face it, day one of the Biden-Harris administration, they declared war on fossil fuels, resulting in higher gas prices, resulting in higher fertilizer prices, resulting in higher prices to get groceries to the market. All of those things have led to the inflation that we're suffering from right now. And even more, that what we have to keep in mind is that elections have consequences. And the reason elections have consequences is because policies have consequences. And people need to tune out the noise. Forget about he said this about her, or she said this about him. Concentrate on policy. It is about policy. And I would submit to you that the policies of the Trump administration 4 years ago were working. Our economy was humming. We had the economy going. Inflation was low. People had more money in their pocket. In the last 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration, the policies have caused inflation to go up and have caused people to have less money in their pocket.
And, you know, this area, the economy is so important. This is one of the fastest growing areas in the whole country right now. Can you speak to the future that you see regarding that for the 1st Congressional District of Georgia?
Well, I'm very excited, and with good reason. Obviously, we have the single largest economic development project in the history of our state right here in our district with the Hyundai plant, which rolled off the first vehicle a couple of weeks ago. We're very proud of that. Listen, I think that Hyundai has made a wise decision to locate here, and I want to add that that decision was made pre-IRA. There are a lot of people who want to credit the IRA with that plant. Nothing could be further from the truth. That decision was made before the IRA was passed, so that's very important. And I think it's going to do great. They're going to be very successful because there will be a market for electric vehicles, and people are going to want that. Now, some won't, and I don't think it's the place of government to choose winners and losers. When you do that, I think the consumers lose, but there's going to be a market for that, and they're going to do great. They're going to find out that they've made a very wise decision. But manufacturing is big in our area, and with good reason. 11 years in a row, Georgia, the #1 state in which to do business, and there's a number of reasons for that. We've created a pro-business environment, and as chair of the Energy and Commerce, Environment, Manufacturing, and Critical Materials Subcommittee, I've set that as one of my goals, to unleash American energy, to make sure that we are really looking at manufacturing here in America. And we are doing that, and we're doing it right here in the 1st Congressional District.
All right, another big topic of mind for voters, healthcare. How do you plan to make healthcare more accessible, especially for our rural communities that are in this district?
Well, certainly, you know, look, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent, everybody wants the same thing. You want accessible, affordable, quality health care. That's what we want. Accessibility is extremely important. During the pandemic, telehealth became an integral part of our healthcare system, certainly an integral part of the rural healthcare system. And I am the sponsor of the Telehealth Modernization Act, which will extend the changes that were made to telehealth rules and regulations for 2 more years. That's extremely important that we get that passed, and I hope that we will get it passed during the lame duck session. However, we will continue to work on healthcare to make sure that it is accessible, to make sure that our FQHCs that are so vitally important in our rural as well as our urban areas, to make sure that they are successful and make sure that they continue to proliferate. Making sure that healthcare is accessible and affordable in quality, that's what we are going to do.
Another topic that has been talked about so much on the national stage, abortion. Would you vote to change Georgia's abortion law if you were given the opportunity?
Well, certainly as a citizen, I'll have the opportunity if it's put on the ballot, but that's up to the Georgia State Legislature. But thank you for mentioning this, because this is extremely important. People understand. Everybody says, oh, the Republicans did away, Donald Trump did away with abortion. No. What Donald Trump did, what the Supreme Court did, is that they said this is not a federal jurisdiction. It should be up to the states, and passed it on to the states. We did not outlaw, or the Supreme Court did not outlaw abortion. They simply said it should be with the states, and the states need to make that decision now. Now, I am obviously pro-life and unapologetically pro-life. I believe in the sanctity of life, and I do believe in the exemptions. I do believe that there should be an exception for when the life of the mother is in danger, and for rape and incest. However, I believe that baby is a life and needs to be saved, and I do not agree with elective abortion.
All right. What makes you the better candidate? Why should people vote you back into office?
Well, you know, I've served in a number of different capacities. I was mayor of the city of Pooler. I was in the Georgia State Legislature. I've been in Congress for 10 years now. I started when I was 10 years old, by the way, so that explains that. But nevertheless, I've had an opportunity to serve, and it is truly an opportunity. Look, this is my home. This is where I've lived all my life and where I intend to live the rest of my life. And it's an honor to serve in Congress, but it's a special honor when you represent the area in which you grew up in. And the shine hasn't worn off for me. I'm still excited every time I go to Washington, D.C. And to have the honor and privilege of representing the people of the 1st Congressional District, it's one of the greatest honors of my life.
All right, voters are already heading to the polls. We've already had people early voting now. What is your final message for voters before they cast their ballots?
Well, first of all, make sure you vote. You know, we owe so much to our veterans. They've done so much for our country, and we enjoy the freedoms we enjoy because of our veterans. But the greatest freedom that I think we have is the freedom to elect our own officials, our own leaders. We need to exercise that right, that freedom, and we need to pay tribute to our veterans by exercising that right and that freedom.
All right. Mr. Carter, thank you so much for